Hey there, Workforce. Chris here with Work to Game, and I'd like to just talk briefly about some PvP macros and kind of Mouseover and a couple of things that I am enjoying in Stormblood. Now, when I personally heal, especially in content that gets greater than 4-man, talking about your 8-man content, or as you get into PvP and you start to see multiple alliances and things like that, reaction time is one of the biggest things that I concern myself with. And when you're playing on a computer, honestly, one of the things you don't really need to do is actually change your target. This allows for your target and your focus target to be used for things like keeping a boss there so that you can look at those cast timers, maybe keeping a main tank or something like that, anywhere you want to put out damage, for example, an enemy of any kind, and really leave your healing for just that quick, oh, I'm just going to toss this heal over here and then forget about where it went. And macros allow you to adjust for this. Macros are incredibly powerful at adjusting the game to exactly your playstyle. When you think about a party of, 24 people, you've got a main tank, maybe he's not in your alliance, you want to keep him targeted, you want to keep the boss off targeted, and then that black mage just takes a little bit of damage, I just want to toss a hot on them and just move on. And in the group I personally play with, we have a lot of healers. So really I find myself mostly healing when we go into that PvP or that large form content. So I am not pretending to be an expert on rotations or anything like that. It's just something that I've gone ahead and made some adjustments to because I was a raid healer back when I played World of Warcraft. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up that macro screen. The macro screen is found down in your little settings down there, and you go to user macros, opens up a whole pane. Brian has actually already made a series of kind of tutorials introducing macros. So if you'd like to kind of start more from the basics, definitely go take a look at those. And the first line I write in any of my macros is to change that icon. I want the icon to look exactly like whatever skill it is that I'm replacing. If I was creating a unique macro that just did something crazy and unique, I might go look for an ability or something that I just like the look of. But since all of these will be to directly replace a skill on the bar, that is what I'm going to make the icon out of. Now we actually get into the macro itself. When you are writing a macro to just cast a spell, it's /AC for action. When you're going into PvP, now that we have our PvP actions and they do all these different things and they kind of work in a different way, they are actually different abilities. So as a white mage, my cure when I'm not in the Wolves Den, when I'm out in the world, or when I'm not doing PvP content is cure. Over here, it is PvP cure, and the system tracks those differently. And so if you don't make this subtle change here, the macro will not work. So you can type /PvP action or PvP AC for short. And remember, if you're wanting to play with your PvP abilities, you don't have to do it in PvP. The Wolves Den does go ahead and make all those bars change for you. So go ahead and just port over there, get your UI set up. That way you're not doing it while under attack. Now you want to put the name of the ability in quotes. If you actually go ahead and open up your PvP action or your job actions or wherever you're getting these skills from, you can actually see it there. You can even drag it in so it'll kind of type it for you. But usually a lot of these abilities are just a single word, 5 or 6 letters. So that's more trouble than it's worth. I just like to have it up, make sure I'm getting the spelling right. And close those quotes. Now we move on to our kind of open and closed around our target. Usually in most macros, you're seeing this as T, right? That's your target. That's who's selected. But the difference is with Mouseover is you want to change that to MO. Makes sense, right? Easy enough. Now I go ahead and set this up for almost each and every one of my abilities because I want them all to work the same way. Now you can take this a lot more complex from here. Below this, you can actually type a line that actually changes it back to T instead of MO, and then that means when it doesn't find a target at the location of your mouse on the screen, it'll go ahead and roll that back to the old way abilities worked. Because macros are basically sorted out top to bottom. I don't really do this because if it doesn't find something for my mouse over target, I'm probably just pressing my key too much. And hopefully this helps. This could be a nice little quality of life thing for you healers out there. And honestly, just as we dive into macros, I would love to hear what other things you guys are coming up with. There's a lot of amazing logic out there that makes the abilities function more in the way your brain thinks or deals with them. Because every time you have to make an extra click or an extra moment of action, there is a chance that your reaction time slides beyond the global cooldown. And anytime you are taking longer to decide what to do next than the global cooldown, you're wasting time. And so as we try to get into really optimal gameplay for things like PvP and as we gear up to get into our first Savage content, this would just be a neat conversation to have. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to check out any other videos, you should click over here. And then we've got like some kind of vlog thing down here in the corner. And then we've got like subscribe. Yeah, like that's really. You should totally do it. This was a complete disaster.